It's about me and my mother. My mother, when I was disabled, you see, my mother was my caretaker. She took care of me. Now that she's up in age and she's kind of disabled, she don't want me to put her business out there like that, but she is on declining in age and everything. I'm the one that has to take care of her now.
This is the Recovery After Stroke podcast with Bill Gassiamis, helping you navigate recovery after stroke.
Hello and welcome to episode 229 of the Recovery After Stroke podcast. My guest today is Keith Krusher Rush, a survivor of multiple strokes aged 27, who is living with deficits that limit his mobility and make it very difficult for him to hold down a job. With his mum in ailing health, Keith has had to find new ways to earn a living, and he joins me on the podcast today to tell his story and promote his first book titled Krusher, ER and the Strokes. You can get a copy on Amazon and it's available in paperback and on Kindle. Please listen to the interview to the end, and if this interview moves you and you can manage $12, please purchase a copy of the book. All funds go to support Keith and his mum cover some of their medical bills. To learn more about Keith, including links to his social media and the Amazon link where you can purchase the book, and to download a full transcript of the entire interview, please go to recoveryafterstroke.com/episodes. And if you are watching on YouTube, you'll find all the links to Keith and the link to the book in the description of the video below. Keith Krusher Rush, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm right here waiting on you, buddy.
Thanks for being here, man. You overcome some massive challenges. We couldn't work out the audio. We couldn't work out the video at one stage, but we made it. We got here, and I'm glad to have you here. Tell me, Keith, tell me a little bit about what happened to you, man.
Well, first of all, Bill, you're wild boy. I'm wild too. So we can make it do what you do right here.
I'm going to be Wild Bill. I'm Wild Bill, am I?
You Wild Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, you Wild Bill and this thing. Okay. To give you a brief nutshell about me, I had 3 strokes. I had AVM, arterial venous malformation, a stroke on the brain at the age of 27. I was young too. Now, 13 years later, I'm 40, and I just wrote a book called Krusher and the Strokes.
Nice.
It's out now, wherever you get the book platform and everything. It's all the way live.
We're going to talk about it in a minute. We're going to talk about it. So you had an AVM. You were 27 years old. And
that's right.
The AVM ruptured and bled. And as a result of that, you ended up in hospital.
Well, I was already in the, I had 1 stroke 1 week, and then come to find out, when they couldn't find out what was going on. Then I had a second stroke. They found it in my MRI. And by the time I had the third one, I was already on the operating room table.
Okay, so you were in the right place to have this other situation.
Yeah, it was basically a week at a time that I had the strokes in.
Right. And then they opened up your head to remove the arteriovenous malformation, right? To get rid of it?
Yeah, that's right. They sure did. They opened up and like I don't know if I don't know what happened if they got rid of it or they untangled it because it was a big tangle like a golf ball size. And what they did was they had to go in and untangle it, I think, but it leaked 2.17 centimeters of blood on the brain.
That's a lot. 2 point.
Oh yeah, and so I had the third stroke. The third stroke was there on the operating room table. I was in the coma for about 4.5 months. I was in the hospital for about 7 months, I think it was. I detail it in my book, though. I detail it. I tell all about everything, about my diagnosis and everything. There's Krusher and the stroke. It's
Yeah.
a highly anticipated book that just came out this month. I was waiting on the publisher. Shout out to the publisher, EBL Books. They published my book and everything, and we got it rolling, got it going.
Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so you have a publisher, and they've supported you to put this book out. Your book is about recounting the story of the strokes and what you went through and what you overcame, right?
Well, yeah, my book is about recounting and recovery of the stroke, but it's not necessarily just that. It's about me and my mother.
If you've had a stroke and you're in recovery, you'll know what a scary and confusing time it can be. You're likely to have a lot of questions going through your mind. Like, how long will it take to recover? Will I actually recover? What things should I avoid in case I make matters worse? Doctors will explain things, but obviously you've never had a stroke before. You probably don't know what questions to ask. If this is you, you may be missing out on doing things that could help speed up your recovery. If you're finding yourself in that situation, stop worrying and head to recoveryafterstroke.com, where you can download a guide that will help you. It's called 7 Questions to Ask Your Doctor About Your Stroke. These 7 questions are the ones Bill wished he'd asked when he was recovering from a stroke. They'll not only help you better understand your condition, they'll help you take a more active role in your recovery. Head to the website now, recoveryafterstroke.com, and download the guide. It's free.
My mother, when I was disabled, you see, my mother was my caretaker. She took care of me. Nowadays, she's up in age and she's kind of disabled. She don't want me to put her business out there like that, but she is on declining in age and everything. I'm the one that has to take care of her now.
Okay, so your mum was looking after you, but her health is declining
Yeah,
because she's
she
older.
was looking out for me when I went through it. Now I gotta return the love and look out for her. And you see, I was just trying to figure out some kind of way possible to make some money, because right now it's a hard time everywhere across the world. It's a hard time. But I was just trying to make a little money and everything. And so I just thought of it and a good idea to share my story. And once I got the writing on that one, that trickled down the road to me writing some other stuff. That's just to be continued, though.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you are supported by mum. Mum's health is not the best because she's aged, and now you're returning the favor. You want to look after your mom and help raise some money and help
That's
support
right.
your mom and yourself. So you wrote a
That's
book
right.
in the hopes of selling the book so that you can
That's
raise
right.
some money to go towards your medical bills and daily costs of living and all the usual things that are related. And you're a stroke survivor, but let's talk about your situation. You've overcome stroke to an extent, but you're also living with what it did to you. So tell me a little bit about your situation. How are you able to get around? What deficits has it left you with?
Well, I was 27 years young in the bottom of my career when this happened. I was thriving and surviving and thriving, basically. All in, I guess I was, um, I was just young and doing my thing. I was really settled down. I had my own house. I had my car. I had my truck. And next thing you know, I had a stroke. But I've been living with this stroke for 13 years now. And because of living with it, I didn't even think I was gonna make it past such and such age. Cause like I said, it was 27 when it happened. I'm 40 now. So there is life after stroke.
Yeah.
But
So
by
tell me about your challenges. What challenges do you need to overcome every day? Are you physically mobile? Are you able to work? What's the situation?
I'm not able to hold down a full-time job because I have um um uh, constant fatigue and everything. And so because I get so tired easily, I'm not able to hold down a full-time job. That's what my doctor told me. But I have a wheelchair. It's a motorized wheelchair to get me around because if I do it for a long period of time, I get tired.
Okay.
Um,
So
but
working is difficult and therefore you can't earn a steady income. So
yeah, and I can't earn a steady income. And I figure, why not just write? So I've been writing for the last since the pandemic in 2020. So I've been writing for over the last 2 years
yeah.
and everything.
Okay.
I can get around in my from A to B in my wheelchair, but it doesn't last really. I need a little some to help. I need, like, what can I
Support.
say? I need like more of I guess financial help with stuff, and I need to take care of things, know, for me, myself, and I, and my mom. Like I said, we just got bills. They're
Yeah.
all around.
Yeah. Tell me about your home life. So you live at home with your mum at the moment?
I say my mom lived with me, but she lived with me for about 10, maybe 10 years or so. She lived with me in my house, and then um but basically she stayed with me and everything. I have to have, I guess, 24-hour care because she is fixing my medicine and stuff. It's just the daily cost of living that's a burden for us. That check that they said, man, I swear healthcare is crazy. It's crazy. Healthcare is so crazy in the United States. But I don't want to dwell on the bad lot too much because healthcare is bad. I know we just signed a bill over in the United States, a pharmaceutical bill and everything. But that doesn't begin with me until the beginning of the year.
Okay. So you're at home, you're not working, you have a lot of medical
Well,
bills.
I am working.
Oh,
I'm earning a check by writing these books.
yes, yes, but you're not working a traditional job.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
you're caring for your mum at the same time. She's also trying to care for you, but she's her health is failing a little, and now you're in a wheelchair because of the stroke, so you can get around, and
Yes, sir.
you can achieve most things that you need to achieve on a daily basis. But you
That,
guys together, you guys need some support. You need to raise some money. You need to become financially independent or work towards that. And you're writing the book in order to support you and help you with that.
that's right. Well, I'm gonna just say, speaking on behalf of for my mother, she doesn't like to put her business out there, but I do. You know what I'm saying? When I see the need that we need help, I'm gonna say something. My mother is a proudful person. She
Yeah.
is very proudful.
Yeah.
And I am too at a certain extent though, because when you need something, you need it.
Yeah. Tell me, how old is mum?
I think what my six, she just turned 65.
She just turned 65. Okay. So you have written a book. It's been a bit of a challenge. Mum is not necessarily keen on this kind of request for support in this way. She's a very proud woman, but you definitely have, I think, in my opinion, a great idea here, because the book's going to be useful for other people. It's going to be helpful for other people, and it's going to also support you guys and be helpful and useful for you guys.
That's right. I'm
You've,
gonna do whatever the means necessary to support me and my
yeah,
mama.
beautiful.
You know,
And you've already overcome so many obstacles, well, all the stroke obstacles, all the other challenges. You've written the book, you found a publisher, you've published it. It's now live on Amazon. You've got an awesome cover, and basically I'm going to hold that up to the screen right now. That's the cover.
yeah,
That's what the book
that's
looks like.
me,
It's
baby.
awesome.
That lady in that picture, I don't know who she is, but that's my Cinderella right there. If you notice in the top right hand corner,
Yeah.
shout out to my Cinderella, well, whoever she is. I thought she was a lady by the name of Gabriella. Well, let me tell you a story real quick.
Tell me.
Okay, when I was in the hospital, I coming back from my coma. You couldn't say nothing to anybody, but you can hear what people whisper in your ear.
Uh-huh.
And a lady by the name of Gabriella came up to me, whispered in my ear, and I saw her walk away. She started walking away, man. And next thing you know, she turned around and was looking back at the thing, boy. I swear she was my Cinderella. She is my Gabriella. Whoever she is, if anybody knows her, have her to reach out to me. I just need to talk to her.
What's her name again? What's her name?
I think her name is Gabriella. I call her my Cinderella.
Gabriella, your Cinderella. Okay, so she's made it onto the book cover. You're in the book
Yeah, she
cover.
made it onto my book cover, and she was just holler at your boy. That's all she got to do. Let me do the rest of my talk. I just want to talk to her and get to know her a little bit. So, whoever she is, Cinderella, Gabriella, whatever, it don't matter. I know who she is when I see her. I just gotta see her. But that's her on my book. On
Oh,
my book cover.
okay, so the book is available. Is it a hard copy, or can you just get it on Kindle at the moment?
You can get it everywhere where books are available. You can go to Amazon, ebook, Kindle, Google Books stores. I believe that they can. I have enough money, yeah, so that they can't talk to you, but it's coming. It's coming in paperback form to you. It'll be available wherever bookstores you go.
Okay,
Just ask for the Krusher ER and the Stros.
okay.
Krusher. There's a funny thing that came up to my name too. I'm gonna tell you this story real quick.
Go.
My name is Krusher. My name is Keith Rush. Miss Joanne Losar Davis is said this. Okay, we're gonna call it Krusher. My name is Keith Rush. You put the K and the Rush up, and you add a ER, and that's Krusher.
Aha. Okay. Now I know how that happened. Awesome. Well, it's an awesome name. It's an awesome cover. I want to read a little bit about what Amazon says about the book. Okay. So it
Yeah,
says,
read on it, man. It tells my whole diagnosis. It tells it's a 55-page, 10,000 word novelist memoir.
nice, nice. So this is what it says on Amazon. It says, Keith Krusher Rush's memoir recounts the trials and triumphs of a young man who suffered a stroke in his late 20s and must rely on his mother for care. The account provides insight into the difficulties he and his mother have had to face to make ends meet and survive. Rush approaches his life story with good humor and optimism without shying away from addressing the more distressing parts of his life. That's what it says on Amazon about your book and about
Oh yeah. You know, you have to approach everything with humor, man.
Yep.
Cause you got to laugh and keep it from crying sometimes. And I said that in the book, I had cried one day ever since you stroll. I ain't cried about me or nothing. Cause I don't see no pity. Don't have pity for me. I'm not pitiful. I'm just out here working. Faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not dead. I'm still here. So
Yeah.
tell the devil or tell whoever, ha
Yeah. You're approaching life with humor. You're just doing life. You're just looking forward. You're not feeling sorry for yourself. You're just getting things done. You're publishing books. You're naming me. You're giving me a name, Wild Bill. I mean, it's awesome, Keith.
Wild Bill, that's right. Wild Bill, you the man, Bill.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So what we're going to do is now we're going to tell people what we want them to do. So anyone who's listening to this podcast, what we would like them to do is go to Amazon.com. When you go to Amazon.com, you're going to type the words Keith Krusher Rush. Keith KRUSHER, Krusher, Rush. That's the author's name. That's going to bring up the title of the book. It's going to bring up Crush ER and the Strokes. The awesome book is going to look like this. That's the cover of the book right there. And for $4.12, you can buy the Kindle version. It's less than a cup of coffee. And most people buy 2 or 3 coffees a day. So if you go to Google, if you go to Amazon.com and you type in Keith Krusher Rush and you see the book and you buy the book, that money is going directly to help Keith and his mum pay their medical bills. Correct?
That's right. That's right. I'm just trying to think of something creative, I'm trying to think of something. I was thinking outside of the box on what I should do because I know that, my mother doesn't want me to be in her, like, to be in pain or be doing something, but no, people need to know. People need to hear. People need to know my story and everything. And that I'm out here simply, I'm not begging, I'm just earning a right. I'm just earning a living ways. Now, IRS will come get me, so come get your boy. But I'm just out here trying to get in and everything.
Yeah. Lots of people are writing books, and the whole purpose of writing a book, Keith, is to sell it. It's got nothing to do with begging. It's got to do with earning a living. And you're doing exactly what everybody else does. They write a book, they put it online for sale, and then they wait for people to buy it. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. That's exactly what everybody else does who's ever written a book. It's about telling a story, but also it's about turning a profit if possible. And your cause is an awesome cause. You want to be independent to support your mum so that you guys can pay your bills and go about life.
That's right. You got the right story, Wild Bill.
I'm writing a book. It just takes a while. It takes a long time, Keith, to write a book. I am writing one, and I'll get it out there one day. But for right now, it's about you. We want to make sure that we get your story out there and we tell people about your book. So that's exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to share the link. I'm going to share the link of your book, and I'm going to make sure that people can go and have a look at it and buy it and support you.
I want everybody in my family. I'm going to give a shout out to everybody in my family and everything. I just want them to believe in me, believe in what I'm doing, and see what I'm doing. I'm not trying to tell on anybody or nothing, or in my hometown, I'm just trying to make something happen. I'm just being creative. But that's
you're
my
trying to make something
thing.
happen. Yeah, instead of waiting around for things to happen, you're being actively involved in trying to make something happen.
That's right. You already know, man.
Yeah, I love it. So, man, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I am going to let people know about this. People will support it. And we're looking forward to hearing about the hardcover version, which is going to be out a little later on down the track. At the moment, it's just
that's right. To be honest, I surely have to get a couple of dollars on royalty because I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag yet, but you gonna be hearing from me again, really. I got a couple other projects I'm working on. Everything is in the process right now.
Yeah, so your publisher is supporting you with this, right? So tell me.
They are EBL Books.
EBL Books.
Queen Elizabeth Bond and Jimbo Mill. I call her Queen Elizabeth Bond. And I forget the editor's name, but EBL books they come through for me. They
Okay.
working it out for me.
Awesome, man. EBL books. So, Keith, thank you so much for connecting with me and reaching out. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Thanks for looking after your mom and supporting her. And
Yes, sir. And I got a little helper. Shout out to my girl Chrissy Matthews. She's helping me out. She told me about your podcast. And I said, I need to jump on it immediately. I need to jump on it right away. And so I think it was on Thanksgiving. And I said, next available slot on morning light popcorn.
yes, so that's Christine Matthews, your friend.
Chrissy Matthews, she's a friend of mine. I call her my assistant, my aide. She lets me know my ins and outs. She's my right hand lady.
Okay, Christine Matthews, thank you for putting me in touch with the Krusher over here. We're gonna raise some awareness. We're gonna get this out, and we're gonna see if we can sell a few copies of this book.
They can do what they do, brother.
All right. Well, you keep in touch. You let me know when the hardcover is, when the print version is available. In the meantime, we'll let people know about this book, and we'll let people know about how they can support you, and we'll see if we can maybe sell a few copies. We'll see if we're going to be able to do that.
Sounds like a plan to me, Wild. Sounds just like a plan.
Awesome, mate. Well, thanks for the new name as well. I really appreciate it. And
all right, no problem, sir. I'll salute you.
High five, man. High five. Thank you.
Okay.
Best. All the best.
I love you already, brother, and I don't even know you.
Thanks, man. I love you too. I love your passion.
All right, man.
I love your energy. I love your creativity. I love the way you're just taking it on, man, and you're just going for it.
You already know, bro. You the man, Wild Bill. You the
man. All right, Keith. Thank you, man. Thanks for being on the podcast. Well, thanks again for joining us on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly did. Krusher is an amazing person. He made me laugh when he renamed me and gave me the name Wild Bill. If you can, please support the Krusher. If you can, royalties from his books will go to covering his mum's and his medical costs. So that will be a really amazing thing if we can help support him in a little way. This is exactly why I do the podcast. I love the opportunity to promote people's books and give people shout outs and plugs. And this is one of the first times I've asked for somebody to be supported like this. And I hope that you will consider it, because it is a really important cause. And I think it's going to make a massive difference to supporting a stroke survivor. And if we can, that'll be great. Now, if you would like to support this podcast, the best way to do that is to leave a 5-star review and a few words about what the show means to you on iTunes and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below the video, like this episode, and to get notifications of future episodes, subscribe to the show on the platform of your choice. If you've subscribed on YouTube, be sure to hit the notifications bell so that you can get notified of future episodes. Sharing the show with family and friends on social media will make it possible for people who may need this type of content to find it easier. That may make a massive difference to their recovery, and that will support them to feel better about the journey that they're on and overcome some of the struggles that they are challenged with. If you are a stroke survivor with a story to share about your experience, come and join me on the show. The interviews are not scripted. You do not have to plan for them. All you need to do to qualify is to be a stroke survivor or care for someone who is a stroke survivor. Or you are one of the fabulous people that help other people who are stroke survivors. Go to recoveryafterstroke.com/contact, fill out the form, and as soon as I receive your request, I will respond with more details on how you can choose a time that works for you and me to meet over Zoom. Thanks again for being here and listening. I really appreciate you. See you on the next episode.
Importantly, we present many podcasts designed to give you an insight and understanding into the experiences of other individuals. Opinions and treatment protocols discussed during any podcast are the individual's own experience, and we do not necessarily share the same opinion, nor do we recommend any treatment protocol discussed. All content on this website and any linked blog, podcast, or video material controlled this website or content is created and produced for informational purposes only and is largely based on the personal experience of Bill Gassiamis. The content is intended to complement your medical treatment and support healing. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health advice. The information is general and may not be suitable for your personal injuries, circumstances, or health objectives. Do not use our content as a standalone resource to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease for therapeutic purposes or as a substitute for the advice of a health professional. Never delay seeking advice or disregard the advice of a medical professional, your doctor, or your rehabilitation program based on our content. If you have any questions or concerns about your health or medical condition, please seek guidance from a doctor or other medical professional. If you are experiencing a health emergency or think you might be, call 000 if in Australia, or your local emergency number immediately for emergency assistance, or go to the nearest hospital emergency department. Medical information changes constantly. While we aim to provide current, quality information in our content, we do not provide any guarantees and assume no legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, currency, or completeness of the content. If you choose to rely on any information within our content, you do so solely at your own risk. We are careful with links we provide. However, third-party links from our website are followed at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any information you find there.